Dear Mr. President, it's been a minute, but you've been busy, and we have conversations that we are going to wrap around. Dear Mr. President, you'll be very busy this week and a couple of weeks, and we know that you're planning an entrance into the Mount Kenya region and seeing different people. But before that, there were a number of cabinet reshuffles that took place. There were some principal secretaries that were moved, others were brought in, others, sacked. There were cabinet reshuffles whereby you also brought in new CSs, not more than, about a month ago or so. And then most recently, we've seen that some key individuals were, removed completely and others were given these positions. And we have one question this morning, dear Mr. President. If we look at the health docket, just as the health docket, you've had, now this is the third cabinet secretary you will have in just 2 years. We are now going to the reshuffle point whereby we've had 5 principal secretaries in the Ministry of Health. And again, just 2 years. And we're just asking a simple question. I'm at the point where I'm asking, how do you guarantee confidence in government working when we have these movements so much across board? And that's just one question. Can we be sure that in the next 2 years, the individuals that you've put in place to run things essentially will get the job done? We've seen moves between the cabinet secretaries of defense and environment. We've seen moves then between the cabinet secretaries of, foreign affairs and labor. I mean, literally across board, education, interior. We know that you had a new interior cabinet secretary because the one you had before then became your deputy president. There are many questions that we're asking, that how can you guarantee confidence in work done when we have such constant movements from place to place? We're looking at the health one where there seems to be a crisis. Is this the answer? That now with the new cabinet secretary, what we will see is that there will be streamlining of the health sector, and that will move to a place whereby you are now able to guarantee that folks have confidence in how things are actually working. One of the questions that one person asked when they went for an interview is that they asked the question that this is a position where I have come to work in that somebody has worked in before. Why is there such a high rate of turnover? One of the issues that we look at when you talk about a way in which somebody is able to do work and do it right is that when you look at issues of turnover, why do you have such high levels of turnover and why are you moving people around? Do you think it's necessary for the president to tell you why he has moved people around? Go.
It is necessary. Because then again, if we look at all the appointments, the moving and the shuffling that is happening, it is being done by the president who appointed these people, which begs the question, dear Mr. President, at the point you were appointing person A, B, C, D, did you have trust or believe in yourself as the president that they could deliver? Or was it just another opportunity to give out positions because you can't do so as the president of the republic? And when we talk about matters to do with the healthcare system in the country, we look at the infrastructure, the back-end information that will help the health sector move forward. And here we talk about SHA. How about the infrastructure behind SHA that will enable it work? Talk about universal healthcare, the policies around that. Have those things been fixed? And even when we have these individuals in these offices, we ask the question, will these individuals be allowed to work? Or is there a body that is dictating to them what to do simply because you can give orders? When you talk about infrastructure, we also ask about proper spending. These institutions always have budgetary allocations. How are you spending them? When the Auditor General raises questions about them, what do we do about the information from the Auditor General and the control of budget? All we do is to come and attack them. How about we fix our house first so that when we are cleaning house without the ghosts that are making these institutions not work?
I had to take a look at the communique that was sent from, essentially what is the cabinet, rather the government press release.
Yes.
And I had to look at whether reasons were given as to why there were further reshuffles, and just to make sure that I wasn't making a mistake. And actually there are none. Now, in the articles that we read today, when we're looking through the newspaper review, there is the said thing that there is some kind of interference from central government, and in this case the executive, when it comes to the runnings of certain ministries, and that health is one of them. So the question is today, if you have a 22 strong cabinet, right? These are ministers, and then now, of course, with the advisors, 23, 24. But if you have these individuals who sit in this place, City seems to be averse to the notion that there's some kind of interference. Did somebody tie your hands? Did somebody not let you do the work? Where do we see that there's this capture?
There's always interference. If you want to understand it, ask the question, how did that person get the job in the first place?
Yes.
Because there was a job interview of sorts, we believe, yes, and you're appointed. But how did they shortlist you?
Yeah.
How did you even get to the point where you are considered? And if there are cases where it's just an appointment and there is no panel for interviews, the only time you're interviewed is when you go before Parliament, who will determine whether you're suitable. It means you are appointed. Now, there is a political process that every country has.
Yes.
And there's a reason why they do this. Dear Mr. President, I do not have a problem with reshuffling whatsoever. None. What I only want to understand is, why do we have them and why do we have this particular one? Or why have we been having them? What are we doing? Are we trying to align strategically? Are we trying to indicate that there are people whose performance and accountability is lacking? Are we trying to say that this is for economic and administrative pressures? Someone was given a job, they had a mandate, and somehow that mandate isn't mandating, and you need to sort of like move them around and bring in somebody? Or are you saying that it is simply political calibration?
Calibration, yeah.
Now, I'm asking these questions because there has to be a reason for whatever the reason is. There must be a reason. Now, the question which was asked, Mr. President, is: do you need to explain to us? Actually, yes.
Yeah.
My explanation is based on, or the explanation I would desire is based on the issues that I've asked. Why? How do all these things then relate directly to ensuring that the needs of the citizens are met?
And I think even going further, for me, it's even if it's recalibration of these ministries and whatnot, City. I'm ejecting you from the health ministry docket because apparently you did not deliver. I am moving you to another docket to do what if you couldn't deliver, where I put you...
To not deliver there as well.
Yeah, to not deliver as well.
Probably my background was in environmental studies.
As a doctor. Yeah.
Yes, and you put me in the Ministry of Defense. Perhaps it would be best if I was recalibrated back to the place where my understanding is greater.
One would have hoped that you would have seen that initially, but okay,
Yes.
you can always turn around in the middle of things and not have a problem.
But what if I'd studied both, but one was a major
and the other was just a concentration?
Yes, and there's one which I prefer and one which I'm aligned to.
And you see, City, this is where the interview comes place, where we tunakupiga msasa, as the Swahili guys would say. We interview you, we make sure that you are rightfully placed where you can perform, right?
That was if the interview, for all intents and purposes, was to ensure that you know what you are doing.
Exactly.
But if the interview took place essentially to just window dress what had come in terms of a nomination, then you can't expect such things to come out of it.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, and then actually no. But then it takes us back to that discussion we had earlier on in the morning, where we were saying there's this little bit of a cultural issue that we've established. Kick the can down the road, find someone to blame, find an excuse for everything that you are doing. And really, the soft spot here where you can hit with ease is government. When that isn't working, you can hit State House. When that isn't working, you will find some other reason. It is that other political party. And there are always reasons why things happen. The fundamental question, one then hopes that when we see these activities, our lives will change for the better.
Please, can we look at why can we look at why ministries exist?
Yes.
Under government. Ministries exist because there are certain elements, certain pockets under government within the development infrastructure of any nation, essentially, that need to be moved forward, right? So there's no aspect of governance in Kenya, there is no aspect of development of Kenya that is not met under one of the 22 ministries that exist. Sawa. Whether you want to look at children, there's somewhere. Whether you want to look at reforms, there's something. Whether you want to look at development, there's something. Infrastructure, there's something. Health, education, across. But that's why ministries exist.
So let me just read why ministries exist in Kenya. To implement government policies, deliver public services, and oversee specific sectors of the economy and society.
Continue. Shikena. That's why they exist. Oh, sorry. That in Hausa means that's it. Okay? That is why they
Chick and na.
Shikenan. Yeah. That's why they exist, for that to happen. So what does that mean? That the people that you put to head these ministries essentially are the drivers of this particular agenda. That thing which you have read in each ministry then is the MO, is the modus operandi for that particular ministry. And that the person who sits at the helm of that ministry, number one, should have the relevant expertise. We're not saying that they be the technocrats or the number crunchers. We are saying that they should have at least the relevant expertise to be able to drive. If you're going to get into a vehicle, at least you need to know where the brake and the acceleration and the gas is. You need to know what the gears do in terms of going forward, backwards. If you're driving a manual, you need to know that you engage your clutch before you engage your gear, engage your clutch before you engage your brake, things like that, right? You should at least have a general idea of how the thing works.
You actually said you engage your brain before you engage your mouth.
Yes.
We would hope that those are things that exist when you're doing this. But if 3-4 months down the line, things are thrown into a crisis, then one would have to ask, hang on a minute, when I was putting this person here, did I really get it right? But then what does that do for the optics of the people who are watching you and expecting you to deliver when they say, in such a critical place, that you have moved the generals now for the third time, and you only have how many years to deliver?
Kobole.
What does that do?
It's not 5. Right now.
Okay. I'm saying overall, from when you came in until when you essentially will go after the first term.
So you as the president, a bitch.
When you've changed now for the third time, so what's to stop you from changing again? How do we know that 4 months, 5 months down the line that it's not going to change again?
All right. Does our constitution give the president a specific number of times they can reshuffle his cabinet?
No. But
no. Remember, he appoints them. So he is at liberty to make certain decisions.
If CT,
yes,
you were leaving your house in the morning, right?
I'm here because I left it in the morning.
Now let's just say tomorrow, now Saturday.
Oh yeah, then tomorrow is an if moment. Yes.
Thank you, please. Now you come dressed in a particular outfit. Then you just reach the door. You're about to open the door. Then you say, no, this one I don't like it. Let me go back. I change.
Ednah will complain. The cameras will not work well.
Then you go back. You come back. Then you reach the door. Now you reach just outside the door. You've taken a step. Then you say, actually, you know what? This outfit doesn't work. Time, meanwhile, is going. You now say, okay, no, this one doesn't work either. You go back into the house and you come. Now this time you actually reach the driveway. Then you say, no, this one can't work. There's somebody at the fence who is watching you, wanting to open the gate for you to drive out. That person is at the fence. They're watching. Now you've come the 4th time, the 5th time. What do you think is going on in the mind of this person who's watching you?
How is that my problem?
No, come on, just help me out here in this illustration, Buana.
Oh, sorry.
What do you think is going on in their mind as they're watching you back and forth like this, and you actually have not done anything yet? What do you think is going on in their head?
If I know City's doctor, I call the doctor because there's a problem.
There's something wrong here, bro. This guy's not okay. This guy's not okay. Something is wrong.
What if it's just I'm exercising? That's what I do. I walk, then I come back several times. Because at some point I will exit.
Then you should have joined the gym and you should not have asked to be the driver of the vehicle.
No, I don't have to join a gym. No.
You shouldn't have been the driver of this vehicle. When we are waiting for you, there is no time. Time is going.
Your point is a valid one.
Thanks, please.
And I understand. I'm asking or I'm raising the issue that I'm raising, the manner that I'm doing, for a simple reason. I am loath to looking at issues in the same way we've accustomed ourselves to doing so in the country. Completely. Because beyond looking at what things are, everybody can see what's happening and they can interpret it as they see fit. The thing that I seek to understand is, Mr. President, with the powers that the Constitution gives you, we take it that the movement of people within your cabinet is intended to achieve the mandate that you swore before the citizenry and the whole world that you would seek to obtain. Now, when you look at the state of the nation, with this new movement of individuals, can I please ask the question, how close are we going to get to the mandate that more covered the promises that were made that would be fulfilled to the citizenry? Because if indeed it is, then, and somewhere along the line there's need to reshuffle some, by all means reshuffle. If it is taking us in the direction that we wish to go.
Let me paint a picture. In carpentry classes, you're told you measure twice or even 10 times, but you only cut once. In the event that you're not sure, what do? If it's 10 feet, you cut 12 feet. So that every other time you can always reduce until you get to your 10 feet. Our president cut 15 feet. He wants 10 feet. He will keep on cutting those feet until he gets to his 10 feet. Meanwhile,
time is going.
Is that a good thing?
It is not, because at the end of the day, if it is commissioned work and there is timelines, the client will walk away. The client will sue you.
The client will go to another will ask for another carpenter.
Exactly. Because the deal was delivered in 2 weeks. You're taking 3 months because you cut the timber wide. No one's got time for that.
Okay. Or maybe you should attend carpentry classes.
Thank you. Nice.
You see now, City, it took a while, but you see now, this is
Yes.
Maybe you should have attended carpentry classes, or at the very least, you would have put people in your employ who attended carpentry classes.
Yes.
So that if you cannot do the thing, they can now do it for you. And this is what we are talking about this morning, is it not?
Yes.
Do you get the confidence that you will be able to in the next, so now with the movement that we have seen, and for those who remained in those positions where they are, do you think has now the president engaged the silver bullet, essentially the last round that he had in his chamber, or maybe one of the most important rounds that he had in his chamber? And do you feel, okay, fine, now we've got it, and that things are moving along smoothly, and that this 22-man strong army, man and woman strong army, is actually now ready to face this thing in terms of development and policy implementation that is called Kenya? Do you feel it? Are you ready? Dear Mr. President, we're asking you, did you feel that you needed to tell Kenyans what was going on? Yeah. If not, Kenyans, tell us now this morning, do you feel that now the president has got it right with the latest reshuffle that we have seen? Is it going to now get to the point where people are saying, actually, you know what? Yeah, we're good. Now we're good. Let's go. The next 2 years is going to be a walk in the park because everything is going to go hunky-dory. Talk to us on 0719-012-600. We'll take that first call before we take a break. Joseph calling in from Saika. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm very fine.
Joseph, I'm going to ask you to turn down the volume on your radio so we can hear you.
Yes, I'm calling from Saika.
Yes.
I would like to kuchangia the mjadala.
But I need you to turn down the volume on your radio. Can you do that for me, please?
Okay. Yes.
All right. Go ahead. Tell us.
Yes. What I want to say is very simple. Mr. President has failed Kenyans because you cannot keep on telling Kenyans, promising Kenyans this one, that one, and you are not delivering anything. From where I sit, people are asking themselves what kind of the person they voted in, especially my good friends from the mountain, because they are very bitter with him. The reason as why these people are very bitter, they thought that Mr. President, the Right Honorable Rigiji always says that Ruta alienda na kawadanganya na Biblia. It is very true. Mimi mwenyewe kama mkaaji wa Saika, Mr. President alikuja wakati amekuwa anafanya nini zake hapa Nairobi. Hakuwahi simama Saika, and we were there waiting for him. Alikuja akapita mbiu, and we were waiting for him because alitokea upande wa Njiru. So people wakasema, is this the person we voted for him? Ama ni nini imebadilika? So kama Mr. President William Samoei Ruto ananisikiza mahali popote ako, yeye ajue kuwa zile promises zenye amepromise Kenyans na hajafulfili hata moja. Watu wako na uchungu na yeye, na sijui ni mbinu gani hasa ambaye yeye atatumia ndio wa Kenya warudishe hiyo trust, because mimi I never voted for him and I don't know hata kama umeshikana na baba, sijui kama mimi ndampigia kura because hii kitu already, hii meli already imesink. na hakuna venye anaweza kuja tuambie otherwise kuwa hii meli haijasink, kwa sababu yeye tumemuelewa na tukekuja kuona kuwa kila kitu anasema.
Asante sana, Joseph. Thank you for your sentiments this morning. Thank you. I mean, just hearing from you, important to get those. Let's take another call before we go to the break. John calling in from Nakuru. John, good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm actually calling from Nakuru.
All right, go ahead. Tell us your thoughts this morning.
My thought is the president has got it totally wrong.
How so?
And he's because all he's doing, he's just recycling leaders, and leaders that have not gotten it right in other ministries, in other departments, or before in the previous governments. And he's repeating the same mistake that the former administration actually did. And I'm actually happy that he's doing that, because now Kenyans can get to see that these leaders from onset, they don't have any intention to get anything right. They have their own agendas. They don't want to listen to other opinions. They don't want to listen to watu ambao wanaelewa haya mambo, and that is why he's actually doing the same mistakes that were done in the previous administration. If the president and the deputy president and the former prime minister have any good intentions of getting things right in this country, they will first begin by nominating people that are qualified, people whose character is not dented by corruption. That is what would at least give some sense of hope that there is intention, there is goodwill by the executive and all other leaders to get things right in this country. But as far as the current reshuffle is concerned, he's gotten it totally wrong. That is my opinion.
We're taking your calls this morning on Kenya's biggest conversation as we talk to the president, and on that number 0719012600. Did the president get it right this time? And do you feel confident that moving forward in the next 2.5 years or so, that what should be achieved in terms of policy will actually be achieved with this new look cabinet? There are members of the cabinet who retain their positions. There are other members who've been brought in. There are other members who move from one position to the other, and then there are other members who are moved from cabinet secretary positions and are now advisors to government. Is this now the new look that will actually get things right in the country? So 0719012600, and we're taking your calls this morning and also sampling some of the questions or some of the comments that you're putting forward to us. But let's hear first of all from Clinton. Clinton, good morning. Hello. Hello, Clinton. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Share your thoughts with us this morning about whether the president got it right, in your opinion, with this new cabinet look.
In my opinion, I think the president is fooling Kenyans.
How so?
Yes, since he promised a lot of things. He promised us the hustlers, the mamambogas, the bodabodas, but since the first day he entered the office, he's doing differently. He's engaging with the big boys, the former cartels. We don't understand, we as wananchi wa kawaida, what's happening in this government.
So you're not happy with the way things are going, essentially, is what you're saying, Clinton?
Yeah, we are not happy as Kenyans, because literally the promises that were made are totally different. It's totally different.
I hear you on that, Clinton. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's get a few more thoughts from folks this morning. Mwangi is calling in from Nyeri. Mwangi, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How is Nyeri this morning?
It's a little bit rainy, and we thank God for the rain.
Indeed. Share your thoughts with us about whether the president got it right, in your opinion, with the new cabinet reshuffle.
I think Mr. President got it all wrong, and the biggest mistake that he did is that he's always on a political mood. Mr. President thinks that all the changes that he must do in his cabinet must be political or politically driven. He has never brought in technocrats whatsoever, people who can give us the services that we need people who can deliver, people who can help him actualize his dream. Mr. President, the only thing that Mr. President thinks and focuses about is 2027. Nothing else.
All right. I mean, it's good to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for that, Mwangi. Let's take a few more calls. We'll hear from Benson, who is in Vihiga. Good morning, Benson.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing this morning?
We are doing fine. We have a lot of rain in Vihiga.
Fantastic. And I'm sure you have a thing or two to tell us. I mean, it is wonderful at any time. You have a thing or two to tell us about what your thoughts are on whether the president got it right with his latest reshuffle.
Oh, yes, sure. Madam Happy City is there listening.
He is.
Yeah, wonderful. The president has gotten it very wrong. Extremely wrong, because the country is crying. People are suffering. He is bringing in these CSs. In fact, for sure, what we should be seeing, he should reduce the number of CSs. One thing the president should also know is that this country, the government does not produce its own money. The money that the government has belongs to the people. It comes from the people. So when he keeps on increasing these numbers, it is a burden. It is a burden to the citizens of this country. I urge the president to calm down and listen to the people who gave him votes and who elected him. Let him not focus on 2027, because as he does that, the people are going to suffer, as they are now suffering. I don't know whether he can listen to City, because City is an old man.
He probably would, essentially. But I mean, thank you so much, Benson. What you've said resonates, and I think it resonates with a number of people. I want to take some more calls from folks around the country this morning, but I want to thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
Anthony in Nairobi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing? Please share your thoughts with us this morning in terms of whether you think the latest reshuffle is actually the answer for the issues that we face.
Yes, the latest reshuffle, they are just bringing in mind as something that the president does not know what he's doing.
I'm going to ask if you can move to a clearer spot, Anthony. We can't hear you very well. It's just to be a little bit clearer.
I'm wondering whether the president lives in Kenya or where he lives. Because I don't think he really listens to Kenyans, to the cry of Kenyans, to the people who are in the ground. The president, everything he does not even...
Anthony, I'm going to ask you to try and call us back, and let's pick up a call this morning then from Collins. Collins is calling in from Eldoret. Collins, good morning.
Good morning. Say hi to City.
Well, I've said City. I've been told to say hello to you from Collins in Eldoret.
Okay.
What are your thoughts this morning, Collins?
I think generally, if you want to know a leader, there's a leader, there is a politician. So if you want to know a leader, and they always say, there's a saying, say, show me your friend and I'll tell you your character. A good leader will not even listening to people, but look with this saying, you should look for people who know what they are doing. And the Constitution is very clear when it says that we don't need politicians into the cabinet. But as the country and our politicians will change all the laws every day, bend it to their tunes, we should be having people. We have a lot of people who know what they are doing. The president is doing politics. He's not leading. And I say, and this is a word that I've been telling people, we don't have a leader, we have a politician.
I hear you on that. And, I just want to thank you so much for sharing, Collins. I want to hear from some other people this morning, and we just want to say Asante Sana. Matthew in Nakuru, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, Matthew, good morning. What are your thoughts this morning?
Good morning. How are you? Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I would actually want to say this to Mr. President. Mr. President, you can't fetch water with a gunny bag. Those reshuffles and very, very many cabinet positions you're creating, you're just trying to fetch water with a gunny bag. That will never happen. I believe that if you're posted in an office, you need to get there, acclimatize with the situation, now pick from where they are false and correct. Now, in Kenya, it happens that when you're placed in a docket, before the seat even gets warm, you are shifted to another docket. When will this ministry ever deliver? You know,
Indeed.
Right now, it's a very, very sad affair, especially in the health and education sector. People are suffering. It is a total mess. Yesterday, we actually lost a patient just because the process of them getting treatment was becoming tedious. There are so many bureaucratic processes along the way. We actually lost this patient. It is sad and very, very unfortunate.
I hear you on that, Matthew.
Yet now, yet when Kenyans demand for services, there will be every other justification why they cannot receive that service duly. It is very, very wrong.
Definitely hear you on that, and it's important to put these thoughts out there. Thank you for sharing your thoughts this morning. We'll go to Tito, who is in Eldoret. Tito, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, maybe you.
Oh, we're all right. Please share your thoughts with us. Latest moves. Do you think it's going to sort the problems that we've been talking about?
I think there is nothing to solve because starting with the education sector, it's totally wrong because looking at the funding model, in fact, the court said the court ruled that the model that was introduced by the president was right, but looking at what they were basing on when they were categorizing the students who applied for the scholarship, it's totally wrong. We don't know the.
Oh, unfortunately, we've lost Tito. Maybe we can call back and let's then take a couple more calls that are coming in this morning. Good morning. We'll hear from Hillary in Eldoret. Hillary, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, your thoughts this morning?
Okay, firstly, I want to say President has failed Kenyans. And he started failing Kenyans when he tried to force the implementation of the First Bill 2024. Then, secondly, this reshuffling of the CSS is not good because if you can see now, if you can reshuffle every 2 months, a couple of 2 months, so when a CS tries to organize his or her office, the reshuffling is here. So, according to me, I see President is failing Kenyans because you cannot reshuffle after 2 months, after 1 month. You have to give time. At least the promises you made, make sure you fulfill, because the president is making a lot of promises, but none of them have been implemented. Secondly, I wonder, you're saying you wanted to visit Mount Kenya. So how can you? Firstly, it is so complicated because the leaders from Mount Kenya, he totally embarrassed the deputy president. Number two, he never wanted to have any negotiations. So it is very hard for him to mobilize the ground because the ground specifically is very much hostile because the president promised many things, but none of them have been implemented.
Thank you very much for your thoughts on that, Hillary. I mean, I wish I could. We just want to take a few more calls from folks this morning, but I hear you on those thoughts, and it's good to share them. Let's hear now from David in Kitengela. David, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Share your thoughts with us this morning.
Now, regarding the current reshuffle that has just taken place with the president, I feel like it is a state of confusion. We're in a state of confusion of the country. We don't have proper leadership. And allow me not to massage the donkey down. Now, the president is actually panel beating the government. And that will not help. Because when you panel beat, you're not actually even thinking about the future, the next generation. This country is not only for us. We are here and we go. The people whom we leave behind in this country, how will they find this place? Because we are just ruining our own country. Now, I would just wish to tell the president that he needs to, if this country has good leadership, we have people who are learned. We have people who can make it. But this issue of just recycling the people who have been there, some have been in leadership even since independence, and we expect them to come with new strategies to do things. I don't think it will work. This issue of panel beating the government will not work for us. It is just a disaster even to the future government. Now we are being left behind from other countries, and I don't think we'll catch up. Education is down, health is down, nothing is working. We are in a problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your thoughts on that. From Juja, let's hear from Delcy. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, Delcy.
Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us your thoughts this morning. Will the latest reshuffle fix the issues that we see?
I do not think it will fix anything in the first place, because to me, it's like treating malaria using cholera medication. If someone is not meeting his job description in one area, what you do, you put him back on the bench, give him some time out, and get someone who will actually do it. So I feel like the president did this wrong again. And yes, it won't work. It won't work at all.
Thank you very much for your thoughts on that, Delcy. And let's hear from Oscar in Bungoma before we take a look at what's happening on the socials. Dennis, maybe you can look at that in a minute and let us know. But Oscar is calling in from Bungoma. Good morning, Oscar. Tell us your thoughts, please.
Okay. Well, I think there is a problem with our president here. One thing the president doesn't know is he thinks that by keeping the Right Honorable Raila Odinga will make everything work. But he's forgetting that the people are the people who voted for him. We voted for him because of the scenario, this thing is used to say, hustler and mama mboga. Unfortunately, if you check on our pay slips now, the deductions were being deducted during the retired Uhuru Kenyatta. It is now almost 3 or 4 times the pay slip are being deducted. Now, if he gets Honorable Raila Odinga into the government, thinking that because of him going there, it will solve the problem of the youths and the mamas, he's wrong. He should be coming down to the people and asking the people, what do you want? And the problem with our president is one, he cannot listen to the people. He's listening to the sycophants, those who are benefiting from him. So as much as he's going to continue to listen to those people, we, the voters, are just hearing. He did well by saying that now the ID is for free. Let's come 2027. If indeed our votes counts, we are going to draw him out, because we can't continue like this one. Every day you wake up with new taxes, you wake up with new taxes. Now, like CS, you are just there sucking CSs. Now, how can you perform? Today is this one. Within a period of 2 years and 2.5 years, already 3 different CSs holding different capacities of the ministry. How can that one work for sure? So we are watching, and we're not happy with it. He might be blackmailed by the people whom he says they are advisors. But we now, the people are the one who count votes. So let him continue that way, but we are seeing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your thoughts on that, Oscar. I mean, great to hear all the calls that come in. I mean, quite a number of those still, but let's also get some views that are coming in on socials this morning in terms of what people are saying. What are some of those comments?
I think let's just look at what many are saying on YouTube. And as we can see, what was the importance of recognition of Kosovo and independence? So that is with regard to matters to do with our foreign policy, as well as what's the logic on addressing a tone deaf? How can we have 4 CSs in the same ministry less than 3 years? And we also have the president should swallow his pride and do the noble thing, which is to resign. He has failed, and nothing he can do can win the trust of Kenyans. That's according to Ragiti. We have Stella S. Governance 101. If you have to keep reshuffle, you do not know what you're doing.
What happens is if you look at what you're doing when you're playing cards, for example, when you reshuffle, what does that mean? That you don't have options. That at that point you've seen that what you have in your hand, you've been dealt a poor hand. So what do? Do you call it? Do you give up? You keep reshuffling, and maybe at some point you'll hit it. Does a reshuffle make sense? A lot of people are saying it looks like we can't get confidence in this thing because so many people moving around and you keep playing these musical chairs. When are you actually going to hit, the right mark?
Is the problem the president, or is the problem the perception the citizens of this country have of the president? So that anything he does, it is bad before it even starts.
I mean, he could breathe and sit on the corner of the road and eat a sandwich and it would be a problem.
Yes. So long as they see him, why is he standing in that corner eating a sandwich when he could go to State House to eat the sandwich? There will be a reason that is found. But the validity of the opinions that we're hearing is simply this. That is the take that the citizenry have on what they see happening. But the angst doesn't begin and end with the president. No. It is the angst that is directed towards the parliamentarians. Because that bunch, okay, they have reshaped and retooled and repositioned the very phrase of let down in ways that no other activity could do. An independent institution. Each of those people were elected.
Yes.
Elected. They nominated them, but they were elected. Why? So that they could represent their people. The check and balance that we're talking about, the check and balance we don't often see. Instead of somebody taking up the mantle of what it is they're supposed to do, like us also, they're looking for situations, we don't understand. Now, how are we then supposed to understand it is you who's supposed to make us understand what on earth is going on.
And you see, Stephen, as we have this discussion, let's talk about the latest reshuffling that has happened. We've seen a member of parliament has been nominated into that seat, an elected member of parliament. It is not bad. It is okay, right? But then look at this coming from a government that says we need to tighten our belts. Yet you're opening an avenue for by-election and money being spent in having someone else in a position that was elected in.
And when is that supposed to take place, by the way? Because, you still don't have a functioning you have a functioning IEBC, but you don't have the folks who are necessary to run an election, whether it's a by-election or a general election.
So you look at even the grand scheme of things, just in terms of every cabinet secretary who gets into a new docket will have to sit in and understand how that ministry works. That means time spent, services not delivered, because a cabinet secretary needs to understand how these ministries work. What does that do to the overall delivery to the people of Kenya who gave you the mandate to deliver? We're talking about health ministry, 3 cabinet secretaries, 2 years.
It doesn't, unfortunately, I mean, from the outside looking in, it doesn't foster much confidence in terms of, if you're going to then be able to deliver on the very description of what, ministries are supposed to do. And then if you're asking the question about, okay, well, maybe we didn't get it right with this one, change it. If we didn't get it right with this one, then change it. You're going to have to ask the question that, okay, then did we not get it right with others as well, but they're just kind of like under the radar at the moment and we don't see any kind of cancer in it until the thing blows out of proportion. I mean, we're looking at certain things that are being done, whether you want to look at interior, whether you want to look at roads, whether you want to look across the board. You have one vocal cabinet secretary right now in the person of John Badi who's telling you, hey guys, look, things don't look good right now. And we're trying everything that we can do to make sure that it does. But right now, what are we focusing on? Paying debt. And we're trying to move this economy, but we can't do it without these other things working in tandem. But if you have to move things around, number one, CT, you asked a critical question that with the shuffles that we are seeing, are they, with the reshuffles that we are seeing, are they for the purpose of that definition which you read, Dennis? Or are they for the purpose of making sure that political alignments take the day? Because if that's what you're doing, then you're failing the description of what ministries are supposed to be doing. Because that means that you'll give anybody, including the village clown, a cabinet position, but you're not working on policy decisions that are supposed to be made. You're not fulfilling a development agenda. Look, the guy can be your friend from back in the day. It really doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, if that position is not fulfilling what it is supposed to, you are letting people down. 2.5 years is a long time for a lot not to have been covered in a critical ministry like health, for example. Now, I'm not saying that the folks who are sitting there are absolutely doing nothing. But if you don't have some kind of leadership, if you don't have a rudder on a ship, what are you doing? You're circling the ocean for God knows how many days, and you're not going in any particular direction. That's the problem.
What is this thing in our culture where the fact that you've been appointed, you seem to assume that your job is to only sit and listen and wait for instructions when actually you've been given a mandate and it's clear what you're supposed to do. Why don't you just do it?
To there. Just do your job.
Let me just tell you what some of the mandates of these ministries: policy implementation, service delivery, regulation and oversight, economic development, coordination of government functions, representation in cabinet, international relations, crisis management.
Oh, you've forgotten one.
Yes.
Complaining about having no power to perform.
Oh, yeah.
Or no resources. And being shackled by the executive. So we know it's not our thing.
And that is the biggest one that we hear about. And not these that I've mentioned.
No, not this is what I've done. This is what I cannot do because somebody is ensuring I don't do it.
Yeah, because I choose to be a television, someone else has a remote control.
Exactly. Dear Mr. President, we end the Kenya's biggest conversation this Friday with asking a question as opposed to telling you something. That do you think that you can actually get the confidence of the people in the latest reshuffle that you made? And moving forward, will we see another one? Dear Mr. President, a lot of attention to be paid. Thank you for keeping it Kenya's biggest conversation this week.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.